Okay, so when you think tech revolution, your mind probably jumps to Silicon Valley, right? Or maybe Shenzhen. But right now, one of the biggest stories in tech is unfolding somewhere else entirely, Southeast Asia. We're talking hundreds of millions of people coming online for the very first time. And the fascinating part? It's not chaos. It's all happening according to a very specific and very powerful playbook.
So how do you even build a digital economy from the ground up? Think about how it happened in the West. It was this slow, step-by-step process, right? You got a bank account, then a credit card, and then you started shopping online. But in Southeast Asia, they're just skipping all of that. They're going straight from having a mobile phone to, well, everything. It's this incredible leapfrog moment, and it is completely rewriting the rules of their economy.
So, what made this huge leap possible? I mean, how did this happen? Well, it all boils down to this really interesting paradox, something at the very heart of the region's economy that turned what looked like a major roadblock into a massive, multi-billion-dollar opportunity. Okay, now these numbers right here, they tell such a wild story. Just look at the bank account and credit card ownership. I mean, even in a super developed place like Singapore, it was under 50% back in 2017. And in countries like Indonesia or the Philippines, it's basically nothing. But then, look at that last column. Mobile phone subscriptions are through the roof, often way over 100%. The takeaway here is so stark you can't miss it. Almost everybody has a phone, but almost nobody has a bank. All right, let's zoom in on Indonesia for a second, just to see how stark this really is. You've got about half the population with a bank account, but less than 5% with a credit card. And yet, there are literally more mobile phones than there are people. This huge, gaping chasm between old-school banking and modern mobile access, that's the perfect storm. That's what created the perfect conditions for a digital revolution. So, here's the big question, right? How on earth do you build an online economy when most of your potential customers can't actually pay for anything online? The answer wasn't to go out and build a ton of new banks. Nope. The answer was to put the bank inside the phone. And that idea gave rise to the all-powerful super app. Let's take a look at a company called Gojek in Indonesia. It's a fantastic example. Back in 2010, they started out as just a simple ride-hailing service for motorcycle taxis, which, by the way, is a brilliant solution for the insane traffic in Jakarta. But the real game changer, the genius move, came in 2016. That's when they launched their own mobile wallet, GoPay. And just like that, bam! They had a way for anyone with a phone to pay digitally. From that point on, they just started layering on services, food delivery, shopping, you name it, all built on top of that payment system. And before you know it, it wasn't just a taxi app anymore, it was a true super app. But that created another problem, didn't it? How do you get your cash into a digital wallet if you don't even have a bank account to link to it? Well, Gojek's solution was just brilliant. Customers could literally just hand cash to their driver, and the driver would instantly top up their digital wallet right there on the spot. This is where that amazing quote comes from. The drivers are walking ATMs. They solved the single biggest hurdle to creating a cashless economy for the unbanked. So what is a super app, really? Whether it's Gojek or its big rival Grab, think of it like the universal remote control for your life. Seriously, it's your bank, it's your mall, it's your favorite food court, it's your courier service, and your taxi stand, all packed into one single app on your phone. It's a whole ecosystem in your pocket. Now you might be thinking, this all just happened spontaneously. But this explosion of super apps and digital services, it's not random at all. These companies in Southeast Asia are actually following a very clear, very proven blueprint. A blueprint that was pioneered by their giant neighbor to the north, China. At the heart of China's economic miracle, and now Southeast Asia's digital boom, is this core philosophy called unbalanced development. It's a pretty wild idea. Instead of trying to make sure everyone rises together slowly, this strategy basically says, you know what, let the fastest, most competitive people and companies get rich first. It's all about embracing ruthless competition, using tech as a weapon, and achieving mind-blowing growth, even if that means creating a lot of inequality in the process. But a strategy like that needs fuel. Right? You can't just have a plan, you need a powerful engine to make it go. And for both China in the past and Southeast Asia right now, that engine is a huge demographic advantage. Some people call it the population bonus. And this chart right here really shows you why this is all happening right now. It's all about timing. It shows when a country's working age population is at its absolute peak. You see, Japan's boom was back in the 90s. China hit its peak around 2010 and is now on the other side. But look at Southeast Asia. Indonesia and Malaysia are right in the middle of their sweet spot. Today, the Philippines has decades to go. This demographic bonus means you have a massive pool of workers and consumers, and that is the perfect fuel for explosive growth.
Okay, so this China model is obviously super influential across the region, but not everyone is just doing a simple copy and paste. There's one country that's doing something really fascinating, a place that's taking the blueprint but is determined to build it with its own two hands, and that country is Vietnam.
So what's Vietnam's strategy? It's basically this. Imitate China's tech, but make damn sure it's Vietnamese companies that come out on top. This whole approach is fueled by a really strong sense of national pride and this deep-seated historical desire to do things their own way. You could say it's a high-stakes game. Learn everything you can from the best in the world while building a fortress around your own market to protect your local players.
And you can see this strategy in action perfectly right here. On the left, you've got the Chinese tech giant, Tencent. On the right, you have Vietnam's VNG. Take a look. See a pattern? The services they offer are nearly identical. Social media, games, streaming, payments. VNG has basically become the Tencent of Vietnam, and they've done it by masterfully replicating the model for their own home turf.
And VNG is not an isolated case, not at all. You've got other local champions, like a company called Bcov. They're a domestic smartphone maker that actually made international headlines when they were one of the first to fool Apple's Face ID using a mask back in 2017. And at the same time, the government is playing defense, right? They put strict controls on foreign payment apps like Alipay to stop them from just coming in and taking over. It's all about creating this protected space for their own homegrown heroes to thrive.
So, when you step back and you look at all these different pieces, the shared blueprint for development, the massive flow of money, the technology itself, what do you get? What does it all add up to? Well, it looks a lot like the emergence of a brand new and very powerful economic bloc.
You can really think of this new economic sphere as being built on four key things that are all working together. First, you've got China's tech blueprint. That's the recipe. Second, you have Chinese capital and investment. That's the money to buy the ingredients. Third, you have Southeast Asia's amazing demographics. That's the energy, the heat. And finally, you have the raw ambition of these countries to just grow like crazy. Put it all together, and you've got something huge. And just so we're clear on the scale we're talking about here, don't underestimate how deep the financial ties are. Gojek by itself has raised more than $10 billion, and a huge chunk of that money came from Chinese tech giants like Tencent. So you see, the money, the technology, the playbook, it's all becoming one deeply interconnected system.
So, what's the bottom line? A new, digitally connected economic sphere is rising right before our eyes. It shares a common model for growth and has incredibly deep financial roots in China. The question isn't if this is happening anymore. It is. The real question is, what happens next? Is this a new center of gravity for the entire global economy? Will it seriously challenge Silicon Valley's long-held dominance? And maybe most importantly, how is the rest of the world going to react to this powerful new reality?